Hello, this is Malorian, and now this will be game 2 of the Cry Havoc tournament. And now this time will be my Orcs up against some Warriors of Chaos. Alright, so what this one here is all about is basically, think of it like Watchtower, but inside the tower in the middle, you're trying to capture it, but right now it's filled with all these different cultists and priests and all these things. So for each one of these that you kill, and you actually get 15 people to fight in this rather than the usual 10, they're worth points. And you get to pick which ones your opponent's going to fight. And the whole thing with this is that the first guys are worth like 10 points, and the final guy at the end is worth 400. So I'm sure once I get my savages there, I'm just going to wipe it out. But, of course there's always going to be big points from killing your opponent as well. The weird thing about this was that it was on Battle for the Pass, but you're only allowed 10 inches of deployment. Now, luckily, one of the three things you could go for is allowing your opponent to go for 15. Now, we both did that. Some of the other, I can't even remember what the other objectives were, but really, I'm feeling very good about this game. What's really going on here is he has some knights. You're allowed to have Storm of Magic monsters, so he has some sort of beastie thing there. Then he has his big unit that has the Frenzy Banner, I think, and he has that Nurgle Lord on there and Palanquin. There's a BSB, and there's also a Hell Cannon. This one I actually thought was going to be a troll fight, because this guy I've seen in previous tournaments, he runs Throg, a whole bunch of Chaos Trolls. But it just turned out that in his 1800, he doesn't have any of that stuff in there. It's really just the one main unit. So really, when I'm looking at this, what I'm going to be doing is using my wolves to kind of slow down that main unit of his so he can't get many kills. My trolls will just rush up. They'll have no trouble with the knights. Shouldn't have a trouble with the monster. And then by then, my savages should have cleared out the building, and I can just tag team that other unit. And between Foot of Gork and all this stuff, I really see this as a pretty straightforward battle. So my first turn, pretty straightforward. My Night Goblins that were inside the building pop out. Everything's rushing up. And in the magic phase, because I need to make sure I'll be able to charge next turn, I use Hand of Gork in order to be right at the building. His turn 1, he's pretty much just moving up as well. His magic phase, nothing special. His Hell Cannon, I think, scattered off. And his knights are at a distance where they could charge me, but it would be a long charge for me. And I don't care. I'm just going to march right up to them. My turn 2, I'm now in the building, and basically there's 15 cultists, I think 9 priests, and then 1 final mega priest. Of course, I have no problem killing all the first 15 guys. It was really weird. We didn't know if the wounds should transfer over, because really I did enough wounds to kill way more than that. Something I should actually say from his last turn is that I have my Night Goblin BSB and my savages, just because I need to have them up there. And he actually took a wound off me with the buboes. So, that's going to be obviously a danger here with the wound sniping. My trolls, I wanted to use Foot of Gork this turn, but usually I don't have a problem casting it because all the terrain I play on is usually fairly open. But right now my shaman's facing a building, so my line of sight is very bad, so I actually had to go for Hand of Gork instead, which really was just used to twist the trolls a little bit so that if he tried something else I could actually wheel in very easily. And also to make sure that monster didn't have my flank. My wolves are also up there just to redirect those frenzied warriors. His turn 2, a mix of good and bad. You can see his warriors charged me and then had to overrun, so I don't need to worry about them for a little bit. His knights decided to charge into my trolls. It was very one-sided. In his magic phase, he was able to pick off another wound off my BSB, so no more BSB for me. He was also able to hit my Night Goblins with a Hell Cannon, so they failed their panic test and fled, and that his little monster thing went into the building, but he wasn't able to do that many wounds. My turn 3 then, so the trolls go into the monster, the savages into the building. That monster did okay, but there's just so many attacks going back, and so it's killed. If I would have gone just a little bit farther, I could have hit the rear of the warriors. But that just would have been icing on the cake. I really wasn't expecting it. In the building, though, I really thought I could wipe out the entire thing this turn, and it just didn't happen. the High Priest has these ward saves, and between me not being able to wound a few of them and him making a lot of ward saves, there's still that priest left with like 1 or 2 wounds left. So my savages are still busy there, and I moved over my shaman so I could do Foot of Gork, and I actually decided to go for, I can't remember what I went for, but I'm pretty sure he just stopped it with a scroll or something. His turn 3, and now this just, whoa, okay. He passes his test with his warriors there. It's a march test, and basically wheels around to get to where they are now. No big deal. But then turns out he has third eye, so he steals my Foot of Gork. And the only reason why he hasn't stolen Foot of Gork to this point is the whole reason is because my guy is behind a building. I didn't even realize I was helping myself. Well, he starts landing these Foot of Gorks, and they're all hitting dead on. And he gets to do it to me like 4 times. You can see my savages are almost wiped out now. Well, okay, they're less than half than what they used to be, so that was just devastating. The only thing that gave a little bit back to me was the fact that he then rolled a 1, and I was able to kill 10-ish of his guys back. But, oh man, that really hurt. My turn 4 then, and in case you're wondering about the Night Goblins, they just kind of like ran for a while and then they rallied and kind of like hit at the end of the board for the end of the game. But really what happened there is that my savages went to the building, and I mean there's just that one guy left with a few wounds. He's now dead. So I get a ton of points from that. The trolls go into the warriors, and it turns out that he has the flaming banner. And, I mean, that's no big deal. I have a lot of attacks. But the very cunning thing he did here was the whole fact that he had situated himself so that when I charged in, I wouldn't be getting all my trolls. Because I'd be blocked by the building on one side, I could only get so many trolls in the combat. So, you know, I just couldn't get enough attacks. I tried killing off his BSB. That was kind of sad. I had 3 guys puking on him and only did 1 wound. Because I was able to see his armor or his list, and he had a 1+ or 2+ rerollable or something. But so my trolls break. For the second game in a row, I get lucky and I get away. So again, that's super lucky with save points. But now he's there in the building, and I don't have many savages in that building, and they're probably going to fight all those guys. His turn 4, the Hell Cannon charges the trolls, which get away. His warriors charge into the building, and they destroy me. I mean, usually savages in a building where I get 15 guys to attack is pretty awesome, but this is where initiative really comes into play. He goes and he slaughters all those guys except for 1, except for the banner. I break and I'm outside there. He's not able to really pursue because he has to take the building, and the only good news I can say is that I killed his BSB. But, yeah, I mean, this is turning against me very quickly. My turn 5, I get some luck and my trolls decide to hold, so I just rank them up a little bit so that I'll be getting more attacks and more ranks in case his Hell Cannon goes for a charge or his warriors come out and my guys keep running. His turn 5, not much to say, just some shooting and some magic at my casters, but I survive. My turn then 6, trolls fail stupidity, I keep on running, that's pretty much it. And then finally his turn 6, wouldn't you know it, he drops a Foot of Gork on me and kills that last guy. Luckily I was able to make my 5+ ward on my shaman, but yeah, Foot of Gork. So at the end of the game we added things up. I mean, there wasn't actually much dead on either side, and yeah, it turned out to be a tie. For a while I actually thought I was going to win because I was up on points, but that's because I didn't realize that not only were you getting points for cultists in the building, but you also got points for the building itself. And that's why when his guys beat my savages that he kept them in the building, was to get that big block of points. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember which way it went, but yeah, it was a tie. And I mean, the really frustrating thing for me was just going into this game and feeling so confident that this was an easy win. I mean, just the thought that my trolls are going to kill the knights, which they did, kill the monster, which they did, and then just have their way with those warriors. But the main thing that it kind of changed everything around was him being very wise in the way that he took on those trolls, and then also in the way that he was able to use Foot of Gork against me. I mean, if that didn't happen to me, it's a totally different game. I mean, if I would have had those 20 more savages in the building, then all of a sudden I would have had 45 attacks to go against his guys, which obviously would have made a big difference in that whole combat. I mean, when he first went in there, I was hoping that would hold so I could just pop out the other side of the building and hide. But yeah, it was just killer. I mean, something I can blame my list for in that is that I was really missing that Dispel Scroll. If I just would have had that Dispel Scroll, would have made a world of a difference. Of course, I have to, even though I had this happening to me, I also have to also say that I got pretty lucky again, where my trolls were able to outpace my opponent when I broke, and also managed to rally so they wouldn't go off the board. Because again, that'd be a 630 point difference. So there you have it. I am at a loss and a tie, and man, do I wish I'll do better in the next game. But hey, I'm having fun. So thanks for watching. Another one coming up.